LipoBind, proud sponsors of the Really Useful Health Show.
Recent government statistics show that as a nation we're getting fatter and fatter. In fact, we're fatter than we've ever been before, with as many as 8 million people in Britain who are actually classified as clinically obese. That means there's an awful lot of us eating far more than we should actually be eating. There's been a 75% increase in obesity in the last 10 years, and that's absolutely staggering, with as many as 50% more women overweight and as many as 75% of all men. That means a quarter of us are dangerously overweight and lots more of us are simply fat. The fact is we're having far more calories than we've had before, and we're doing less exercise. So in other words, there's more input and less output, and the scales just tip the wrong way, and as a result we're gaining weight and keeping the weight. Now, if you want to assess how much weight you've got to lose, you can actually do what's called a BMI check. That's a body mass index check. And that was developed by a scientist some years ago called Quetelet. And these days, rather than having to worry about the math, it's actually automated on our website. You just simply have to enter information about your height and your weight, and it will calculate it for you automatically. Now, the categories in the BMI test will show you whether you are normal weight, which is a score of between 20 and 25, or whether you're grade 1, 2 or 3. And that makes a difference in your risk of other problems later on in life. So for example, if you're slightly overweight, if you're grade 1, then losing weight is good for you because it will make you feel better, but it's not particularly for medical reasons. Whereas if you're grade 2 or grade 3, then you need to lose weight because you've got an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and lots of other problems that you just don't even want to know about. The research also shows, thankfully, that if you return to your normal weight, then the actual chances of you getting all these horrible conditions reduces too. So it's not too late to make a start and to improve your health prospects as well as losing weight. What most people don't realise is it's not just how much fat we've accumulated, but it's also where the fat is on our body that makes a big difference in terms of what our health prospects are. You may have heard people say they're apple-shaped or they're pear-shaped, but you may not really understand the implications of that. And in fact, the people that are pear-shaped, that normally would have probably hated the fact that they were known to have big hips, are actually better off health-wise than those who are apple-shaped. Because the ones who are apple-shaped are more likely to have what's called metabolic syndrome, which the British Nutrition Foundation terms as a potential medical time bomb. You pretty much know if you're apple or pear-shaped, but you can actually work it out rather than having to do the math by entering your details on the website. And it is really important, if you are apple-shaped, to make sure you reverse the process and get back your hourglass in the middle. Waist size, interestingly, is an indicator, and if your waist size is over 40 inches for a man and 35.5 inches for a woman, that means that you have a really increased chance of getting metabolic syndrome. But the instructions in the Real Life Diet will enable you to get back into the driving seat in terms of increasing your metabolic rate, in terms of eating healthily, learning how to meet your body's needs, so that you actually dissolve the fat over time and get back to how you should be, and then reduce your chances of having all these awful problems later on in life. Plus, as a side effect, you'll feel really well. If you've been yo-yo dieting for years and that has a déjà vu feeling for you, I'm really sorry. But the good news is that this is probably the last diet you're ever going to need to do, because once you've learned how to meet your body's needs and you've actually got yourself into better nutritional shape and you've got your metabolic rate ticking over in an optimum way, you're going to lose weight and keep that weight off. And not only that, but you're going to remember that lesson for the rest of your life so that you can actually keep yourself in good shape. So the side effect of the program is that you're going to feel good in the long term, and that you're going to be really glad that you learned this lesson that you perhaps never, ever encountered before. So if you're living life in the fast lane, catch the next show, because I'm going to be talking about menus on the go.
LipoBind, proud sponsors of the Really Useful Health Show.